I just don't. I'm not with a 3-year-old. You were lucky if we get in one episode of something in the evening after she goes to bed before we're like, just out.
It's really hard. Is it hard to play a character that, like you said, like has different maybe beliefs than you, or maybe isn't liked by like the general masses of the audience? Like, is that your job as an actor to kind of humanize this person and, find what's likable about them?
Yeah, of course it's difficult, and I think that's what's great and exciting about it is the challenge, and that was part of my sort of learning process is that I kept trying to make him likable, I kept trying to like add little like quirky bits, and it would work. The audience would laugh, and I'd be like, oh, they like me. And then, the director would pull me back and said, it's okay if the audience doesn't like you. Like, that's fine. And what was really bizarre to me is we had a lot of amazing people come to that show, Oprah and Michelle Obama and so many other people in the, famous people and people in the political realm and people who had lost children. And I realized very quickly that because I wanted to meet everybody because I was like so excited and to hear their thoughts. And I found it very quickly that they didn't want to meet me because, the show had a very thick emotional hangover. And, when they were coming backstage, they were still in the thick of dealing with what they just saw. And I was in sort of a negative aspect of that. And so I just kind of learned to go on my way. Um, but it was a great learning experience. And I think playing characters that are different from myself is always more exciting. I think, when I did Supergirl, like that character more than anything was probably like me. And I had a lot of fun with it, but I never felt like it was super challenging, So it's good to be challenged every once in a while.
Wow, I thought you were going to say like when Michelle Obama and Oprah, when they came back, it was just Carrie, 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 but it really was like what they didn't want to meet you because of your
No,
character.
no, well, not Michelle Obama and Oprah. I got to meet them. But and it wasn't that people didn't get to meet me. I just like could feel I could feel people's, pain. And because they just saw me on stage for, 90 minutes, being uh, a partial source of that,
Yeah.
experience, it's hard for people to come out of that and just be like, oh, you're a real person, you're a real actor. And I never faulted anybody for that. I totally understood, it's hard. It's hard to pull yourself out of that when you're experiencing something that's really visceral.
Well, it's actually a huge compliment to your acting that it's like it's still
I'll take that. I'll take it like
just
that.
take it.
Exactly. Just take
Before
it and
we
run.
take it and run, before we move on from American Son, like what is a Michelle Obama or an Oprah like when they're backstage meeting you?
Uh, well, Michelle Obama was very tall. But no, they were very gracious. We when it's someone that's that big, we all gathered on the stage and took a picture, and they were just really kind and really gracious, and um, you know, are always trying to encourage us to keep doing and telling these important stories. And yeah, I
Wow.
wish, I mean, I had a got to have a drink, but it wasn't anything like that.
Interesting. Well, you mentioned like, American Son was like some material that you were so excited to do because you were doing some things that, maybe you weren't as into the material. Are you referring to anything in particular?
Yeah, like I was on Supergirl for a few years, and I had a blast doing it. And it wasn't that I wasn't like into the material. I love superhero stuff, but it's less challenging, when you're doing a character and you're kind of like comedic and doing bits here and there, and you're trying to find ways to make more of it, and to like give it an extra boost and an extra jolt of excitement. And it's fun to do those kinds of things. Don't get me wrong, And then of course I've done so many like little readings of new shows and new plays, and at varying degrees of great or maybe needs a little bit more work. And at the end of the day, when you do these little presentations, you have to try to make it as good as possible. So you're constantly working to try to improve it. and many times it does improve it, and sometimes it gets improved. Sometimes they're in really early stages, and so you're doing a lot of work trying to figure out how to make this the best it can be. Whereas something like American Sun was really really good to begin with, and of course, we hopefully improved it even more and made some adjustments as during the process. But you know, you're not going to mess too much with Shakespeare. Not saying it was Shakespeare, but what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
there are certain things that and I think plays are really specific in that way, because plays often are you the playwright will spend a year plus working on 90 minutes to 2 hours of material, and that's their focus, and everything is crafted so specifically, where like as in the TV world things are written and then next week you got to write a new one. And everybody often knows that you're not going to have a perfect product, so it's always in transition. It's always like changing and mutating and trying to find the best possible version of it before you have to just move on to the next one, and it's in the can. um so I
That's
think
true.
with films too, I think films too are, there's a lot of time and energy spent, more time and energy spent on perfecting the source material, that you don't have to do as much in that regard.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Well, speaking of
Yeah.
TV, where does Smash fall in the realm of things like you've enjoyed, things you're proud of?
I loved working on Smash. I was really sad that we only got 2 seasons. And ask anybody, everybody's still has become a bit of a cult favorite now, and it was huge in other countries. Of course, that didn't determine whether we got picked up, because after the fact, after showing in other countries, they're like, well, where's the next season? We're like, well, people didn't watch it in America because where who knows why. But they should have. But it was great for me. I mean, it was my first um series regular on a TV show, and I learned so much, and it was a great sort of transition for me, coming from theater and stage and Broadway, getting to you know do something on film, but like it was completely intermingled with what I already knew. And so I really just got to kind of slip right in there and feel very comfortable in that world. And I met some of my most amazing best friends doing the show, and yeah, we had a blast. What was great was that we filmed almost all of season 2 before we premiered. And so by the time we premiered and things weren't looking as great in the ratings, we had at least had a great time filming most of it. And then by the end, um, there was a significant sort of change in the energy of the set for the last few episodes. And, our budget went down, and we got switched to Saturdays or something. I was like, what? It was kind of a sad ending, but